Hey YouTube, how's it going? It's Quentin here and welcome to tutorial number 28. And in this tutorial I am going to talk to you guys about how to style lists on your web page. Okay, so obviously to get started we need to have a list on our web page. So I'm just going to start off by placing a header 2 on the web page. Not that we need this header, but it's going to just make the list look exciting. So I'm going to just type in the word menu because we are going to pretend that we're making a menu of things that a customer can choose from. So let's go ahead and throw in our list, and I'm just going to use an unordered list, which is the UL tag, and we'll throw in some list items. So li and ending li, and I'm going to duplicate that 1, 2, 3 times. Okay, so we have 4 list items, and the first list item we can go ahead and put in something food type. So let's go ahead and say bacon and cheese sandwich. That actually sounds really good right about now. I could use one. Okay, and then let's go ahead and put in a hamburger as the second option. Hamburger. Then the third option, we can put something like a steak. As you can see, I've got meat on my mind. So let's go ahead and put something in that's healthy, and we'll just put in a salad for people that don't really want to eat meat. Okay. So if I go ahead and I actually run this in Firefox right now, then I'm just going to get a plain old unordered list. Nothing special about it, but as you guys can see, by default we have these dark filled bullet points showing up, and that is pretty much what it's going to look like by default in most browsers. But let's go ahead and actually change those bullet points. So to do that, we're going to grab our unordered list using the UL selector. Okay, and then we're just going to pop that down a line, and I'm going to select them or use the property to actually change those bullet points, and the property is list style, let me move my mouse, type. Okay, and list style type can be set to a number of values. Actually, there are really a lot of values that we could set this to. So by default it is set to disk, and basically that is what these things are. So in CSS, that little black thing is, or that little black dot is a disk. Okay, and if I go ahead and I set this to circle, then instead of getting a filled dot, we should get an empty circle. So let's click refresh, and as you can see, we've got this empty circle. Another value that I could give to this is square, so square, and that will actually change this to a square, just like that. And there's, like I said, quite a few different values that we could place in here. And something else we could do is turn our unordered list into an ordered list by putting the value of decimal. And this is actually kind of weird, like the fact that you can turn an unordered list into an ordered list by just doing something as simple as that. Okay, so as you can see, even though we used an unordered list, we now have numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's go back here and check out a few more values, because instead of putting in decimal over here, I could write something like lower Greek, and this is actually going to give us like some Greek alphabetical letters. So let's go ahead and click refresh over here, and as you can see, we've got, I think it's alpha, beta, I don't really know Greek, but there we go. Okay, and we could also throw in some weird Japanese symbols as well if we used the value of katakana or katakana. I don't know how you say that. So if you guys know how to say that, leave a comment, let me know. and if we click refresh, you can see we have these weird Japanese symbols show up as our actual list style type. Okay, but if you guys ever get bored of using one of these different values, you might want to create your own image that you can use as a list style type. So let's get rid of this, and I'm actually going to show you guys how to use an image instead of one of those built-in values. Okay, so to do that, you're going to use this property list style image, and then of course you need an actual image. So I went ahead and made this image in Photoshop a little while earlier, and I don't know why I did that, because it just took up the entire screen and you can't really see it because it's very small. Okay, but it is just a 40 by 40 pixel image of a green circle with a white tick. Okay, and as you can see, it is in the same folder or same directory as my index page and my CSS page. So whenever I want to include that image as my list style image, I just type in the word URL, put in some parentheses, and then actually put the image name in these parentheses. So my image's name is green underscore tick dot png, and you guys are going to want to use a small image for this, because if you don't, the browser might not show the entire image. But let's click refresh, and as you can see, I now have these green circles with white ticks as my actual list style image thing. Okay, so you could go ahead and do that. Just be warned, like I said before, if this image is going to be too big, then it's probably not going to show up. The entire thing might not show up. And if you are experiencing that problem, then you can go ahead and maybe just increase the line height. So change the line height from whatever it is to something really big. But obviously you're going to have to play around with this depending on what your image is. I'm just going to make mine 600% real quick. And as you can see, I now have a much higher or further space between all of my actual list items. And before we close off, the last thing I want to show you guys is just how to actually change the list style position. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all of this real quick. Go back to my index page, and I'm actually just going to copy this line and paste it a few times. So paste, 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 paste. And I know this is probably weird, but what it did was actually make this line or this list item go over 2 lines. And I'm just trying to show you guys that by default these little dots are actually on the outside of our list. So as you can see, everything on our list lines up perfectly because those dots are on the outside. But if I went ahead and changed the list style position, and I set this to inside, then we would change the position of those dots from the outside of the list to the inside of the list. And look at that, now we have all the dots on the inside of the list, which means that anytime one of our list items goes to a new line, the actual words appear underneath the dots. So that's just something, if you guys are wondering how to do, you can go ahead and do that. And the other value you could put in here is outside, but by default it is already set to outside. Now I spelled that wrong, but yeah. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys in this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe. Please feel free to leave a comment, like or share the video. It's really going to help my channel grow, and I will see you guys next time.